Hi guys, this is Patricia from Yarny Cat Crochet, and this is going to be a crochet along. I thought I'd take you guys, sorry, there is a spot on my glasses. I thought I'd take you guys along for a little crochet journey with our mandala 12 pointed star baby blanket that I'm working on. And you've probably seen the previous video, but if not, here's how far we've got. I think I was only on the white the last time you guys saw, and you're mostly going to be seeing the back of the blanket, which doesn't look as pretty, but can't help it, I don't know how to crochet backwards. But anyway, let me take these off. They're good for far away, but not up close, and glasses are so expensive. The last time I went, they wanted to charge me almost $500 for one pair of glasses that had up close, far away. I've got good mid vision, you know, because I had surgery. And for some reason in America, when you get the cataract surgery and they replace your corneas, they won't cover full good vision corneas. So if you don't have money like me, you have to choose between close-up vision, which is what I wanted, but the doctor said the other would be better. I wish that I would have just made him listen to me. But he's a good doctor. I didn't feel any pain. I healed really well. He just thought he knew best, which in this case I don't think was best. But anyway, he said that mid-vision, since I had to pick one, would be the best, and then glasses for close up and far away. And I used to see close up just fine. Now I don't. But anyway, long story short, they wanted to charge me $400 and some odd for a pair of glasses that were close up and far away, and you know, the no line bifocals, which getting bifocals with lines anymore just looks stupid. And so I thought, well, I can't afford that, and I may need to drive, so I picked the far away for driving, which I don't like to drive. I don't believe it's safe, and I like to go on road trips with my husband and my son. But anyway, I picked the far away vision for in case I needed to drive for some odd reason, and I used my previous glasses frames because they were still good, and they're kind of broken now, but I chose those because that took about $100 off of it. Well, in the end, it was about $300 for a pair of glasses with my own frames and just far away vision, and it was ridiculous. And I think next time I might go to Warby Parker to see if that's any better. I don't know. I think that glasses shouldn't be, same with dental. Dental should be, if it's going to cause you an infection, it should be covered, right? But it's not. Only like an amount is covered, how much money and how many teeth that you want to get a filling in, and how many pulled teeth. There's a limit, and it's like, it's ridiculous. And I know this all sounds Debbie Downer. I'm not trying to be. I was just trying to explain the glasses and went down the dark rabbit hole that is insurance. But anyway, yeah, I think vision and teeth, that, you know, teeth will affect your heart. So I think those should be like main basics, you know, of care. Sorry about my hair. I put it up, rounded around my headband so that I wouldn't have any hair potentially fall on the baby blanket. Yeah, I kind of look like Heidi. Oh, and there's a knot. That's the only thing about this yarn that I'm not liking so far. The Mandala Baby yarn is there's a lot of tie-ins, which I don't normally encounter, because you know, when you pay good money for yarn, which you have to if you're buying mandala yarn, you shouldn't have to do this. But what I do is, because they cut the knot so short, you can't weave in the end, so then you got that little knot nub um, uh, showing up in your work that you can't weave in, so it looks bad. So I just take and I give myself like an inch or two. In this case, I just did a couple of inches, it looks like. I'm going to try and make it a little shorter. And that one's going to be long for some reason. Alright, well, I have one really long one and one tiny short one. But anyway, I like to do that so that I can weave them in and you can't see, and there's no nub. It's nubless. But anyway, so yeah, we went down an insurance rabbit hole. That's great. Please leave in the comments everything that you're working on. If you want to share any of your makes, you can send them to my email. Hold on. I gotta check and see who that is, just in case it's... Nope, it's an ad. I'll turn that on silent. Okay. Oh, and I need to let my mom know I'm filming. I forgot. Okay. So, yeah, if you want to, there we go. That should be good. I mean, it'll look stupid till I get it woven, but it's better now. Make sure, for some reason I feel like it's messed up. I'm gonna restart. Okay, yeah, so I just make the strings long and then I weave it in. That's where it was. But anyway, so if you guys are working on anything that you would like to show, just send me a picture to my email. I'll try and remember to put the link in the description, but it is yarnycat_crochet@yahoo.com. That's my email for the channel. I have a personal email that I don't give out, but to my friends. And not that y'all aren't my friends, it's just you just never know who you're talking to. It could say that you are one of my best friends, and it could be a made-up account, and you know, so no offense to everybody. I just would prefer the, people that want to show their makes to send it to my my Yarny Cat email. Let's see. Sorry, I'm trying to concentrate. You got to remember to slip stitch over one. So this will be another normal row. So anyway, yeah, if you want to show your makes, send it to yarnycat_crochet@yahoo.com. Yeah, at yahoo.com. And I will, and you got to tell me in your message that you give me permission to put them on the internet. Otherwise, if you just send me the picture, I'll email you back and say, oh, that's really pretty. And that'll be the end of it, because I don't want to get in trouble. You know, some people tend to get picky with their stuff, and that's okay, that's their stuff. But I don't want to get in a lawsuit or something because I put a picture of their work up that they weren't, I don't know why I did air quotes there, that they weren't willing to share with the public. So if you want to share with the public, please put in your description and your email that it's okay to share your picture. And I'll put your makes up there. I don't mind to share at all. Uh-oh. I got an email and I was just reading it off the screen. I'm filming on my tablet. Anyway, yeah, tell me what you're working on. I would like to know that. I was at Five Below yesterday, and they had a bunch of puzzles, and also they had, if you're a painter, they had a lot of canvas there, and that is good because canvas isn't cheap to come by unless you get a good deal or something. So, especially if you've got budding artists at home, like when my son was little, we used to, whatever his fancy was at the moment, like when he was skateboarding, we got him all the skateboarding equipment. When he was learning to paint, we got him all the paints and canvases and drawing pads and Bob Ross, the whole series, Bob Ross DVD. You know, just whatever he wanted, we got that so that he could explore that area and see if that's something he wanted to do. He wanted karate lessons. We got him karate lessons, and I think it was karate. Anyway, it was one of those sports. One of the, you know. But he actually ended up taking it from a pretty famous guy in New Albany. I forget what his name was, but in the karate world, he's pretty well known. And that was just by pure coinkydink. We were just there, and he saw that, and I think Terry Middleton, I think is his name. Look him up. But anyway, he taught my son, and everything my son did, he just put himself 100% into it. And the guy wanted him to become a teacher, which he did end up becoming a teacher, but not for karate. He said that he knew that Craig could do it, and I thought that was pretty cool. But he just didn't end up pursuing that. Didn't, you know. He was really good at everything that he did, but he was a good painter. That's one of his beginning ones, which is good. I love it. It's awesome, but it's like an earlier, he's done way better drawings, and but it's just one of my favorite because it's the beach, and it's actually one of Bob Ross's tutorials on his the painting show that he did on PBS, and like I said, it's not perfect because it was one of his earlier ones, but I just love it. It's the sunset, and you know. But anyway, whatever he wanted to do, we got him, like when he was into Rubik's Cubes, yo-yos. I mean, he's tried every little thing you can think of, and especially if it's like a puzzle, like something you figure out, like the Rubik's Cube. Those kind of fascinated him more than anything. But anyway, I don't know why I got on that subject. I tend to ramble, but why did I get on that subject? But anyway, he's a teacher now, and doing really well. I talked to him the other day because of those tsunamis that everybody was supposed to have, but didn't. Well, I mean, technically they got him, but it was like 1.5 feet. My son's 6 foot tall. It wouldn't have taken him away, I don't think. Maybe if he was on the beach and got pulled under by an undertow or something, but you know, he was nowhere near the beach. He was actually in Kyoto on a I want to say it's like a retreat, but they call it an event, and it's an English-speaking event where the kids, they go and they do all these fun games and stuff. kind of like a 1 week summer camp for English. And they do a bunch of fun stuff, and the whole time they have to totally speak in English. They can't, well, I mean, there are other teachers there that speak that speak Japanese, and they help the kids in case they struggle a little bit with what the English speaking teachers tell them. So, like a translator basically. But anyway, they do all these fun activities that they have to work together, and they have to use English to do it, and it helps them learn. Well, my son loves those, and he's really popular with the kids. Well, for one, he's 6 foot tall, and I mean, they do have tall people in Japan, but not usually that tall. It's a little bit of an anomaly, and he's also foreign, so it's fascinating to the kids. It's real tall American. But anyway, the kids just love him, and he loves teaching, and it's a lot of fun. And he got to make a little extra money doing it, so it was a win-win. So in Kyoto, my whole point in that being, it doesn't generally it's inland, so if there was a tsunami, he'd be safe. Now, where he lives in Nagoya, it is close enough to get a tsunami, and there were warnings. His phone did get warnings because he lives in Nagoya, but it never came to fruition. And his apartment is so in Japan, they have markers where the floods have come up to the tsunamis. How far they came inland, and then it's marked, and there's like a little marker there that tells you where the line is. And so far, and I'm not saying there won't be a bigger one, but his apartment is above the flood marker, well enough back that it may come up to his front door, but that'd be as far, as far as it went. But that's not saying that, I mean, that earthquake was 8.8 on the Richter scale, and if it had hit in the right spot, there's a certain trench, I think it's called the Nankai Trench. I mean, I could be saying that wrong, but it's a place where if an earthquake hit, it would devastate Japan. And it happens about every 100 years, and they're due in the next 30 years, they say. And that's not to say that it will happen, because, miracles do happen, and I believe, and it could not, but it's been historically, it's a thing. So the good thing about Japan is they have built better. Like in America, people are getting smarter and building, in the Midwest, are building more tornado resistant. I'm not going to say tornado proof, because there's not such a thing, but tornado resistant housing, and they learn techniques through all these tornadoes that they get to practice with, of how to build better. How to roofs stay on stronger and stuff like that. Well, in Japan, my point being is that they get a lot of earthquakes. Earthquakes are their thing, and they have learned how to build houses where they'll withstand the shaking. So as time goes on, things get better, and you see less damage. But it's also a very old country, and there's a lot of older structures, shrines, and temples, about the same thing. There's a lot of very old, Japan is extremely old culture, and there's a lot of buildings that would be leveled if that bad of an earthquake would hit just in the right spot. But my son lives in a newer apartment, so less of an issue, and there's not very many floors, 2 or 3 floors, and he's on the bottom, and so that's also a plus, I feel. Um, so anyway, when that tsunami warning came across, I was on a live with somebody's channel. They're video gamers, and new friends of mine that I met while watching video game channels. I enjoy video games, and they were saying, "Have you heard about the earthquake in Russia?" And I was like, "No." Is it, they said there's tsunami warnings. I said, "Does that include Japan?" Because that was where my brain just immediately went to, mom brain. And they said, "Yeah." And I was like, "Oh no, I'll be right back." And so I immediately started searching for my son or where he was. And I texted him, and I didn't get an answer back. What I didn't know is he had already started the day before in Kyoto, which if I had known that that's where it was and that it was safe from tsunamis, I wouldn't have freaked out. But I freaked out. I freaked out. There was freakage. And so he wasn't texting me back, and because he was working. And so I left him a message. I said, call me as soon as you can, as soon as you get a minute. Because I did halfway in the back of my mind thought he could be doing something, and, it's just not answering. And so I said, as soon as you get this, please call me. I'm scared. I need to know that you're safe. And he did when he got on his break, but by then I already knew he was okay. Because then my second thought was, I can ping his phone. He has turned on the location. When he left, he knew how much it would affect me. And I might, I might tear up a little bit, but I'm really close to my son. And, but anyway, he knew how much it would affect me, and he allowed me to know the location of where he's at all the time on his phone, which is weird, I know. and if it was a different situation, I wouldn't, I would have never asked, but it just helps, especially if there's an emergency situation, something bad happens, say the earthquake happens, and I can possibly, maybe the lines are tied up, but I can possibly ping his phone and know, what location he's in. Then I could tell people who I know that could locate him for me of where his phone is pinging at. It's a stressful thing to think about, but it's one of the many plans that we have in place. So when I pinged his phone and saw that he was in Kyoto, then I looked up Kyoto to see if it was in the tsunami area, and it was not. So I even asked Google. I said, out loud, I said the name of the person in my phone, and I said, does Kyoto get tsunamis? And they said no. Where it's located and everything, it's not a tsunami zone. So then I started to calm down, and then eventually he texted me, and then I was totally fine after that. But it's a stressful thing, especially when they're all talking about it themselves, about the next big earthquake. It's kind of like California, but like a stronger earthquakes. But anyway, back in, I think it was 2011, they had a tsunami that was devastating, and I've seen videos of that, and it's just terrifying. And my son is an adult. He's 27. He knows how to take care of himself, but he's also in another country, and there's new dangers You know, here we got to worry about getting blown away. There they have to worry about a building falling on them if they have an earthquake, or getting washed away out to sea. There's different worries, but there's everywhere there's something, some worries, you know. Hold on. One of my friends are texting me. I just gotta let her know yet that it's me. When she watches this, she's gonna know it was her. But I'm not gonna call her out. She didn't know I was filming. I'll text her some more as she asks me questions. But anyway, it was the first time I ever messaged her. She gave me her phone number, and I would see her not knowing, because not everybody knows my last name or you know, my phone number. So yeah, and people get weird phone calls all the time, so it's good to know. It's good to know who you're talking to. But anyway, I think we're into the green now, you guys. I mean, it's technically the blue, but it's between the blue and the yellow, so it's kind of green. So there's going to be a little green hue in between. It's going to be cute. I feel like it's a girl blanket because the biggest part in the middle is pink. I might have to make a boy blanket to go along with it, send them both, and then they can donate one or use both of them. Some people don't care. I, for one, believe salmon is a beautiful color on a man in a dress shirt. I really like it. But, you know, some people are picky about their colors. I think colors are for everybody. But anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah, so him being in a different country is a little stressful at times, but he's got a girlfriend now, and I really like her. Well, I like that he's got a girlfriend. I've never met the girl, but so far the pictures are beautiful. They're going to museums. She's an art major, and they're going to museums, and he got to see Monet's water lilies, which are on loan to Japan right now, and I just about died. I told him I would have cried. I would have stood in front of the paintings. Even thinking about it, you can hear it in my voice. I would have cried. And he got to go to an Egyptian exhibit, which each Egyptian exhibit, okay, because there's all kinds of different mummies, right? And so each exhibit you go to in different places, like I went to one in Louisville. I went to one in Louisville, Kentucky. I went to one in DC. So everybody has different mummies. So whatever Egyptian exhibit you go to, if it's not the same one, you're seeing fresh new things, and I find it amazing. Like I told you guys a long time ago, or well, not even a long time ago, a few videos ago actually, I was talking about it. When I was a kid, I loved archaeology. I love paleontology, you know, the dinosaurs. And anyway, so Egypt, of course, is fascinating to a lot of people. So he's getting to see all that over there, and then in the summer they have festivals, and they got to go to the fireworks festival, which I love the name for fireworks in Japanese. I'm studying Japanese on Duolingo, and that way, if I have half Japanese grandbabies, I'll be able to speak to them in both languages. But anyway, so of course they'll know English from their dad, you know, but it helps, especially if you're going to go visit. You need to know the language. And so the Japanese word for fireworks is hanabi, which is Hana is flower, which my cousin, she's half Japanese. Her name is Hana. It's beautiful. And I don't know what bee means, but Hanabi flowers. It might be light. It could be flower light. I don't know. I'll have to look up the bee part of it. But I like the name that it's Hanabi because you just think of flowery fireworks. You know how they go out in a big circle like a giant flower. But anyway, so every festival at the end of the night has fireworks, and that's a special thing for couples to go do, to go watch the fireworks. And so they went and did that and took pictures, and so I'm getting to see the pictures, and I'm really, really excited about that. And they have this thing over there where if you date, it's either the third or the fourth date, I can't remember, but if you go out on that many dates, you're going steady, which I don't even think that's a thing over here in America anymore, but it used to be like back in the 50s, 60s, you'd go steady with your boyfriend or girlfriend. And, in Japan, that's a thing. And so I was like, is there going to, I think it was like after the second date, but I didn't know he had already had a third date. I said, so is there going to be a third date? Asking, is this girl more than just a date? You just went out, to enjoy the evening and go to, say, a music festival or something? And he goes, oh, there's going to be a fourth date because we just went to the fireworks. The third date. I'm like, oh. So he really, really likes her, and I think that's awesome. They had talked for a really long time before they started dating. I didn't know about that. He tends to be, he keeps things, he's close with me, but he keeps, his personal business is personal business, so I don't know everything like I used to do when he was a kid, and he's an adult. But they had been talking back and forth for a while. Plus, there's this long distance thing where we're not, seeing each other every day, so I don't get to hear everyday information. We talk about, I text him every day, but just about little things that are going on here, and he comments back on what, what I text him about. But we talk, sometimes it's once a week on the weekend, and we get in touch and everything, do FaceTime. But sometimes it's like every other week. It depends on how busy he is. And but he still, like I said, he sends me Instagram, funny things on Instagram, and he'll text me if something important happens, like if he had to go to the doctor or whatever, he'll text me about that. But we really catch up on the weekends, as long as it's not a busy weekend for him. And that's hard for me because he's my only child, and I want to talk more, but you gotta let him grow up. He's 27. He's almost 30 years old. He'll be 28 in October. And it's got to be that way. It's a natural progression of things. But I only had one child. I focused all my energy on him, and he lived with us for longer than normal. But that's kind of the thing that's happening now with older kids. They tend to stay with their parents longer because of the economy and everything. So I got blessed to have him longer. Normally kids want to get out on their own when they're in their 20s, early 20s. But he loved us, and it was comfortable at home, and there was no reason to leave till he was done with his college, and we couldn't afford to put him through college. I always told him, you got to get good grades, son, because that's the only way that you're going to get a scholarship. And be able to go to college because, you know, we didn't have a lot of money. And so he did. He worked really hard, um, and what he didn't get paid for, he paid for himself by working for Coke. He worked, well, for a while he worked for the post office, but they just are so understaffed, and he was supposed to be working part-time and doing his college, which he could have handled, but they did more than full-time work. He was working so many hours, it's ridiculous, and it doesn't matter the conditions. Uh, it could be dangerous tornado weather outside and you're still expected to deliver the mail. There's a whole motto: neither rain nor sleet nor storm of night or darker night or something will keep the postman from his appointed rounds. But anyway, it was too much while he was trying to go to college. So he ended up going to Coke, and that worked out better for him. But anyway, and he saved all of his money for his plane ticket, and you know, paid his way and everything he needed in between that time. And anyway, then he studied Japanese religiously until he went over there, so he'd be able to do the job. And I'm so proud of him, and he's such a good teacher. I knew he would be, because he gets the kids, even when he was on the bus when he was younger, in like 8th, 9th, and 10th. You know how the older kids would be, I don't know what school you went to, but the older kids generally be, they don't tolerate the little kids, and some of them be downright mean. But little Craig always listened, and would like play those little handheld Nintendo DS video games or whatever with the kids. He would talk to them, he wouldn't ignore them. And so when he'd get off the bus, you'd have 3 or 4 little kids jump up in the window and wave out the window, bye, Craig. You know, you'd always hear 2 or 3 of them. I really enjoyed that, seeing that. So he was always good with his cousins and younger kids. He never was the mean older kid. So I knew when he said he was going to be an English teacher, I knew it would be good. And just that's the reason why I got on that train. Was just the other day, a day or so ago, he texted me and he said, "I'm so glad I became a teacher," and it just melted my heart. I'm so proud of him. I couldn't be prouder. Of course, you guys probably have already guessed that. Talk about him a lot, but when he's your only, that tends to be your focus. That's all I ever focused on. And so it was really hard for me when he moved away. And not only did he move out, not only are we empty nesters, he moved to a whole different country. And I've had you guys on here for 38 minutes. Oh my goodness. Well, I hope you watched it in spurts. If you have other stuff to do, or you put me on while you were doing a project, I'm so sorry that it took this long for me to realize what the time was. I'm going to cut it off here. I got a couple rows on. We're almost back to the, I think I've done 2 rows while I've talked to you. But see, we're at the green. That's where we are. Oh, it kind of looks like a peacock. You know, you could do a half one if you could figure out how to do the half one, and do you a peacock background and then make you a little peacock. Missy told me that, Missy from Missy's Yarniverse, she told me that she did a red, white, and blue one with an eagle in the middle, and I can't wait to see that picture. Send it to me. But anyway, I'm going to let you guys go. I hope you guys are sharing your craft, sharing your passion, sharing your joy, that you're being little joy bombs in your corner of the world. And while you're out running your errands today, as you come across somebody, I hope you give them your most beautiful smile, because you never know what that person's day has been like, and your smile can be just what they need to turn their day around. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.